urgent public importance. It's my honor and pleasure to call on Honorable CHinda to move his motion.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise this morning standing on Order 8, Rule 5 of the House Rules to seek your leave that I bring a matter of urgent national importance. And the gamut of the application is that we have read severally in the pages of newspaper and the social media the issues that has to do with a Nigerian who has invested so much to establish a refinery in this country, and he has been complaining that some of the international oil companies, IOCs, are ganging up against him to frustrate him from operating freely. He can no longer get crude locally and then has to be forced to go outside the shores of this country to get crude to refine locally. And I think that that is the nerve center of our country. We should take it as a matter of urgent national importance, look at it and see how we can verify some of the information that are flying out there. Secondly, on the same issue,
yes,
we're also aware that our country invested 20% into that refinery. And what we have heard is that it is now 7.5%. Whether it is true or not, I think that we should see this as an important national issue to certify the truth behind all this information for Nigerians to know. I therefore pray that you give the necessary support for me to take this matter as one of urgent national importance this morning.
My name, esteemed colleagues, my name is Gaza Jonathan Gbefi, and I represent the people of Karu, Kefi, Kokona Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State, and I rise to second the first leg of this motion that it is important and that we should take it as a matter of urgent public importance.
Operations and survival of Dangote Refinery and the actual percentage holding of the federal government in Dangote Refinery. The House notes with interest the successful completion and coming into full operation of Dangote Oil Refinery and Petrochemicals. The House also notes that whereas Nigeria is a major oil producing and exporting country, she has for several years continued to import refined petroleum products from other countries to the detriment of the economic well-being of our country. The House notes further that Dangote Refinery, with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, is said to be Africa's largest refinery and the world's 7th largest by capacity. And its construction was meant to alleviate the petroleum products needs and accompanying pains faced by Nigerians. The House is aware that recently the management of Dangote Oil Refinery accused the IOCs operating in the country of conspiracy in an attempt to frustrate the smooth operations of the refinery. The House is also aware that the alleged conspiracy against Dangote Refinery relates to efforts by the IOCs to deliberately frustrate the refinery from buying local crude by manipulating and jacking up the premium price above the market price, thus forcing the refinery to reduce output. The House is further aware that according to the management of Dangote Refinery, whilst Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NNPCL, was trying its best to allocate the crude to Dangote Refinery, the IOCs were deliberately frustrating Dangote Refinery's efforts to buy the local crude. The House is concerned that while IOCs are keen on exporting raw materials to their home countries and thus create wealth and employment for their countries, thereby adding to their GDP, Nigeria continues to be a dumping ground for the refined products, thus making us dependent on imported petroleum products. Also concerned that the IOC strategy or plan, which is capable of making Nigeria face higher rate of unemployment and poverty. The House is concerned that there is an urgent need for the federal government and relevant MDAs, including NNPCL and key stakeholders, to support Dangote Refinery to succeed. The House is worried that whilst federal government of Nigeria subscribed 20% shares in Dangote Refinery, the chairman, Aliko Dangote, claimed that Nigeria was unable to redeem its obligation and now owns 7.2% through NNPCL Limited. The House is worried that there is an urgent need to look into these allegations and end or break all forms of dominance and monopoly in the petroleum sector by IOCs and confirm the quantum of federal government interest in the refinery. The House is worried that unless urgent steps are taken by the federal government, as well as investigate these matters and call on the IOCs to order, Dangote Refinery and its operation will be prematurely pushed or forced out of business, and this will not be good for us as a people. The House is also concerned that NNPC Limited is said to be unable to subscribe for the 20% shares that the country ought to own in Dangote Refinery. The House is called to resolve to urge the federal government, NUPRC, NMDPRA, key stakeholders and well-meaning Nigerians to support Dangote Refinery to succeed. Also urge the Minister of Petroleum Resources and all relevant MDAs to immediately take urgent steps and intervene in the matter of crude oil supply to Dangote Refinery. And finally, set up an ad hoc committee to investigate these matters of the inability of NNPC Limited to subscribe for the 20% shares in Dangote Refinery and lack of supply of crude to Dangote Refinery, and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, sir.
Vote of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. This motion will be referred to a committee to be constituted in due course.